We went to one of their beautiful towns, and again you can see it's just the kind of idyllic place. This is a workers' park for recreation, and in that park was a model of the boat. This is in fact the first ironclad boat ever made in the world, which apparently came from Korea. Ironclad boat. So I think it's from the 14th century. And they depict their history, of which they're very proud, on some of their walls, including the fact that it's actually one of the first places from which primitive man originated. There's a picture of a guy making some nice paintings. I like that. It's our delegation enjoying itself in the workers' park. And looking down over the town into the mountains. And so you can see this is a town outside Korea. It's beautifully developed. Outside Pyongyang, sorry, it's beautifully developed. You know, you can go to the farms, go to the different towns, and you can see that people live a beautiful standard of life. There's no beggars, and really people live a good life. Okay, so the myth that we're taught, you know, you see the shaky images of cameras and say there's executions everywhere. They really are myths. Okay. This is Pyongyang by night. This is our hotel. It's looking up through the roof. You can see it's a massive modern building. It's egg-shaped. I'm afraid there are some beautiful buildings in Korea that I haven't got all of the pictures of here. This is the International Friendship Museum, where they house all the gifts which are given to the people, and anyone can come and see them. This is our delegation and some of our Korean friends standing in front of it. Okay, so these are... You can just see it's in itself a beautiful and stunning place to go and visit. That's us sitting enjoying the view. But incidentally, at this museum are gifts such as, and for me that had great significance, an armoured car that was given by Stalin to Kim Il-sung during the height of the Korean War, an armoured train for similar purposes, one that was given by Mao to Kim Il-sung. Incidentally, also talking about Madeleine Albright, there's a basketball signed by Michael Jordan that was given by Madeleine Albright. I thought it was a bit of a cheap present at first, but and to be honest, it is. But Michael Jordan's Michael Jordan, I suppose. But all of these gifts are on display. They're not considered the personal property, you know, of the worker, of either the leaders or the Workers' Party of Korea. These are national treasures, and they're on national display to be appreciated and seen. And you can see, for people who have been around Southeast Asia, who like Southeast Asian culture, it's a place in Southeast Asia which has all of those things to offer as well. I mean, it's a beautiful place. Well, East Asia. These are just some workers. We went to climb a mountain, very beautiful. It's a workers' park. We actually bumped into some American tourists that were there. They were from California and saying, "Isn't this amazing? In California, there are I can go out and you never see other people because people don't use the countryside. They sit at home and and you can go walk in parks and never see anyone, even quite close to major centres of population. Because you come here to this mountain, it's like everyone's here. The whole town are out enjoying themselves, exercising. So I thought that was an interesting juxtaposition as well. That's us up the mountain, giving a salute. Zayn didn't really follow us, so he's taking the photo from the bottom of the mountain. That's us coming down. Now, communism, they say, is antithetical to religion. Certainly, people who are scientific and in mind are not necessarily religious, but religion is a large part of the cultural heritage of the world, and it's a hangover from which humanity is certainly yet to recover, in my opinion. But there's as a result of religion playing such a large part in human culture, there are very beautiful memorials, pieces of art, churches, temples all over the world, which in themselves are some of the highest products of human kind of civilization and cultural achievement historically, and by themselves are interesting memorials. Now this actually is a Buddhist temple. It's a very beautiful temple, historically of great significance, and it was devastated during the 50 to 53 war by bombing of the US. Kim Il-sung instructed that it was restored. It still acts as a Buddhist temple, and interestingly, during the latest Chonan incident, when some South Korean Buddhist monks wanted to come to this temple to worship and pay their respects as an act of solidarity, they were fully allowed to come in by the DPRK, had no objection to anyone coming to their country in peace. But when they went back to South Korea, they were imprisoned. What were the reasons for their imprisonment? There were two charges in court. One of the charges was going to the North Korea without permission, which is illegal in South Korea, the democratic part of Korea, we're told it's illegal to go to the north. The second part, which is even better, I think, is harbouring sympathy to the North Korean system. Is an actual charge that you can be imprisoned for in the south of Korea. I think that fact there are these religious places for those who really want to worship in North Korea, they're not suppressed in any way. In fact, they were instructed to be, maintained by the leaders of a socialist state. That in the south it's illegal to come and worship there, and when you go home you're arrested for one, having been there illegally without permission, to be friendly, and two, that to harbour sympathy to a state which has a different ideology is a criminal offence for which you can be imprisoned in South Korea. Tells you much more about the real state of affairs on the peninsula than a ton of propaganda that you can hear in our newspapers. But it was a very interesting place to go. This, incidentally, is their wrestling champion. Koreans love wrestling, it's on the TV very often. This chap was one there, we just bumped into him. He was just there at the temple on a sightseeing day. And everywhere you go around DPRK, you can see large groups of tourists, essentially, internal tourists who go around, see their country, and you can see they're having a very good time, have very professional guides everywhere to take them around. It's a country which is dedicated for working, to the enjoyment of working people, and that's why it's very different. While it's a very normal place, it's very different, and this whole emphasis is set up to satisfy working people.